Welcome to Spotlight on Giving, the show where celebrities shine their spotlight on causes that are dear to them and amazing nonprofit organizations. I'm so excited today to be here with Lamar Jackson, Heisman Trophy winner. Congratulations, Lamar.
Thank you so much.
Of course, we're so excited. And we're here with Companions Encourage Foundation, which is broadcasting to all different patients and children in children's hospitals across the country. And how did you talk to some of the kids today? How did that feel?
Well, it felt amazing to be able to label the kids to label me as their hero or a celebrity now, that I can be able to motivate them to do better and make them happy and healthy, hopefully.
Yeah, and you told them your favorite cereal and a couple fun things, right?
It was cool, you getting to talk to them guys. I always wanted to do things like this, growing up. I'm seeing things on TV. It's like, I know if I talk to them now, it's like it won't mean anything to them, when I got on a bigger, platform or things like that, it'll help them, And now I'm here, so it's fun for me right now. Yeah.
How, as your impressive career, you have such an incredible football career, how as your career progresses, are you going to continue to shine that spotlight on things that you care about and causes?
Absolutely, that will come first, giving back is always the thing that keeps your blessing going farther in life, But I love that, I always, like I said before, I always wanted to do that, and to be able to do it now is tremendous to me. And like to see them and like them kids see me as their hero, man, it's amazing for me right now. I'm happy.
Do you know why Lamar wears number 8?
Yeah. What is it?
He said Troy Aikman.
Got it.
That's great.
Do you know what your 400 time was?
I would say real slow. My first time running, they didn't really coach me well. I tried to run full speed the first 300 meters. The last 100, I almost gave up. I was struggling, so I don't really know. I was just happy to get it over with.
That's funny. Yeah, because I run track too, and I do the 400 and the 800. So.
That's good. Got a lot of wind.
What's your best time in the 400?
In the 400, it's 53 seconds.
Wow.
That's good. That's good. How old are you?
I'm 16.
That's good. Good.
That's tremendous.
You got me. I'll probably be in the 60s. That's great.
I think you have me in the 400-yard dash, though.
I'm glad they don't have it. That's a long run.
Lamar, what was going through your head right before they announced your name at the awards banquet?
Oh, well, nothing was going through my head. I thought I caught a heart attack. Felt like my heart was beating outside of my jacket. My shirt or whatever. And when he called my name, I almost broke down, in tears and stuff like that, of joy. Coming over from, like I said, South Florida, Pompano Beach, Florida. It was crazy, and I'm just happy right now.
And I know one of your heroes is your mother, correct?
Absolutely.
I know you've spoken very outwardly about your mother being your hero. Did she help you have this, instill this power of giving back and the feeling of wanting to help others?
She was the one who helped me out when no one believed in me. She always motivated me to do better, always wanted me to be on top of my game, always behind me 100%, right or wrong. That's why I love her so much.
Yeah, and you owe everything to her, right? That's what you said when you made your acceptance speech.
Absolutely. That's why she's getting this award. It belongs to her.
It belongs to her, and you don't know where she's going to put it yet, right?
Not yet. Not yet.
She has a special spot picked out?
Hopefully. She hasn't told me yet, so hopefully she does.
And now that you have this big spotlight, just talk to me about why you think it's important that others should use that spotlight for good and make sure that you spotlight amazing organizations like Companions Encourage.
Well, it's like kids, a lot of kids wish they was in your footsteps, and while the kids, down right now, they're, some of them are sick, some of them are getting very healthy. And I feel like everyone should be able to do that. It's always about giving back. It's not about just staying where you are at, your name is known, and you just going further on with your life without, people concerned about other people's feelings. Mm-hmm. And, dealing with you and seeing that you on the top of your game and stuff like that. I don't feel you should just go on with your life without giving back, like I said before.
And what message would you give to everyone about Companions Encourage Foundation and just helping others in general?
Man, it's a lot to say. Just for kids, man. Just for kids. It's all about the kids. It's not about the adults, It's all about the kids and making their heart, making them happy, man. That's all it's about. Making people happy, making other people happy, not yourself.
And you're making people so happy. So thank you so much for the time and for helping these kids today and working with Companions in Courage and just doing a great job. And congratulations.
Thank you so
I hope
much.
you get to relax soon.
Oh, me too.
So thank you so much for shining your spotlight on Companions in Courage Foundation. Welcome back to Spotlight on Giving. I'm here with George Ross, who is one of the very influential board members of Companions in Courage Foundation. You've spent a lot of time in the spotlight. Tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, it's great. I think any charitable event is great, and working for charities, various charities, especially those for children, and Companions in Courage is right at the top of my list.
It is very near and dear to your heart. Talk to me a little bit about your experience with it. You've been there from the beginning with the very first Lion's Den, so tell me about that.
Yeah, that is, well, Lion's Den was interesting because it was Maria Ferrari's hospital. My daughter was involved with the hospital. She said, really, George, Dad, you have a charitable foundation. You ought to do something for the hospital. I didn't know what to do, but I went there. And I'm not one that wants to give something generally to a hospital, but they had something specific. So they had something for young kids, and I said, well, what do you have in the way of technology for older children? Because I was involved in technology for a long time. And they told me about the concept of the Lion's Den. And I said, gee, I think that's great. And they said, well, Pat LaFontaine has got it started. He's got the equipment and the hardware, software. The only thing he's missing is money. I said, not anymore.
Oh, that's awesome. So you knew right from the beginning that you wanted to be involved.
Absolutely. Knew I wanted to be involved at that, and it started out, and I figured this is the first one so they can iron out whatever the problems are in the first one. Little did I know that it was going to go to 22 or it was going to be forever, but it's wonderful.
It really is. It's a wonderful organization. They do incredible work, and they link all the children. The kids can play with each other. They play video games. It's really great.
Yeah, I'd say once you get to an organization that's forward thinking, the world is your limit. You have no limit. Because the technology can take it anywhere, can take it to children in any hospital anywhere in the United States, even elsewhere. So the idea is to have an organization that's forward-looking and they're willing to do something really for the kids.
Yeah, definitely, and they are helping the kids.
No
So
question.
you started from the beginning with the very first hospital, and now you're about to open your 20th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How
That's
does
correct.
that feel?
It feels great. Feels great. There's no limit as long as you do it. And you never know this is where it was going to be when you started with the first one. It was unique. It was different. And when you see the kids and you see the parents and the adoration they have for the kids enjoying themselves in the room and just having fun. And when you got sick kids and they're having fun, boy, that's where it is at. If you can do anything to make their lives better, by all means do it.
It gives them a little bit of a break. It gives them a little bit of fun and
Absolutely,
joy.
because it's a tough time. A hospital is not a friendly environment. If they can go somewhere where they're comfortable, that's the name of it. That's it. And make them feel relaxed, at ease. They don't get it at home, but if they can get it in a room like the Lion's Den, like you have here, that's wonderful. How could it be? How could you not?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have given back almost your whole life. You've always been really philanthropic. What is your earliest memory of giving back?
I always was involved with charitable things where I could give time and give my brain and so forth to do things when you practice a law that would be helpful. But then when you reach a certain stage in life and you've accomplished financial goals and you say, well, I got money left over, where do I put it? And the answer is, yeah, put it in a charity and put it in a charity like Lion's Den or hospitals or so. And and the joy is giving back. That's really where it's at.
And you're at the core of the foundation, so where do you want it to see it go?
As far as Pat and Jim want to take it, I'm along for the ride. I'll be helpful.
You are the ride. You're leading the ride.
That's it. I'm happy to do it this way. The easiest thing in charitable situations is if you have the money is to give money. The hard thing is to spend your time or your everything that you've known or you've accomplished over your 60 years, and you just say, fine, now I can give you the benefit of my advice and my experience, which is more valuable to an organization basically than writing out a check.
And what advice do you give to others to invest in charities and philanthropic activities?
The advice is very simple. If you want to make something out, you want to feel good, do it. Because there's nothing like helping other people that are not as fortunate as you are. And the reward is inward, how you feel about it. You see his children, or you see sick people or whatever, and you can make their lives easier. That's fine. There's a certain feeling that you can't get if you're not charitable.
And you have that feeling because you are charitable and you've helped so many people.
I'm happy to do it, and we'll continue to do it as long as I'm able to.
Well, thank you so much for the time and for shining your spotlight on Companions Encourage Foundation and everything that you do for the kids.
Oh, thanks so much for asking me. It's a pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Of course. Nice to meet you as well. And we'll be right back with Spotlight on Giving and Pat LaFontaine. And I am so excited to have Pat LaFontaine here, the president. And you started the amazing Companions Encourage Foundation. Talk to me a little bit about how you got the idea.
Well, Amber, it started during my playing days. I was very blessed to play 15 years in the National Hockey League. And I was lucky to play in all of New York. So the Islanders, the Sabres, and the Rangers. And I had some really good role models as players, Brian Trottiers and the Clark Gillies and Bobby Nystrom's, that were involved in the community. I was a pro at 19. I just turned pro. And I had family. My grandmother passed away from leukemia, and my other grandma had arthritis. So we were getting involved in giving back. And I think that was one thing Al Arbor always did as a coach of the Islanders, was it was more than just being a hockey player. You had to be involved in the community. And so when I went up to Buffalo, I met these very special, courageous kids in children's hospitals that I was coming off a major knee surgery. My knee was reconstructed, and my wife's just like, she said to me, isn't there something you're supposed to learn here? You're off your crutches now. And actually, I was just getting off the crutches, and there was a young boy named Robert Schwegler who wanted to meet me. And he was in isolation at Roswell Park Cancer Institute on the 9th floor. And I would go in and I would put a cap and gown on, and Robert and I would play Sega. And I was always the Islanders or the Rangers, and he was always the Sabres, and myself and Alex McGillney and all those players. And I think I tied him once. He beat me all the time. We would laugh and we would share a moment together playing games. And one day I was leaving and I was taking the cap and gown off and said goodbye to Robert and told him I'd see him soon. And the nurse came over and she shook my hand and said, I just want to thank you for, playing with Robert. And I said, it's the least I could do. He's my friend. And then she grabbed my arm, started to cry, and said, I don't think you understand. This is the only time this boy smiles. And I was like, that hit me like a ton of bricks because, being a professional athlete and being in the spotlight, and here is a young man who was going through a tough time in isolation. And, we laughed, and I just assumed, and she was kind of letting me know this was a highlight for him. And I thought, every kid should have a chance to escape and play games and laugh. And that was really a moment for me that I guess I got it, but I didn't get it. And we as athletes are kind of skating on the surface of life. And that was a moment where I broke through the ice, and Robert taught me what real courage was and what real joy was, and what we tried to do at Companions Encourage as a great team of leaders on our board is to try to create those experiences, build as many rooms as we can, and give that amazing opportunity as a safe haven in a room like this so that kids can be kids and escape and have fun and laugh. And then also we built kiosks that kids are in isolation, like Robert. We can make them feel a part of it and through an online private gaming network. So those are just a few stories, but it's really the kids, their inspiration and their courage that drive us to keep doing this.
Yeah, and that's how it started. That's what Companions Encourage does. It links other kids can play games with the other patients, and they can play games with other ones that are there. And you have celebrities that come in, like Lamar Jackson, that visit with the kids. What's the feeling like when you facilitate these visitations?
Well, when you see the kids smiling and laughing, that's what it's all about. Because at that moment, they're not thinking of anything. They're not in pain for just those brief moments of just joy and excitement and distraction. To me, that's what it's all about. I've had one of the biggest motivation is I've had the privilege of being in front of a doctor on 3 occasions where the doctor said, Pat, there's no medical explanation why this child is here today. And I thought, if we can continue to create an environment of joy and colors and allow kids to be free and play games and do what kids do and connect with the outside world, who knows what can happen. I can only think that it can help put them in a good, peaceful place. And I think that can help, ignite healing. And the other thing is that our real mission statement is no child in the fight for life or health should ever have to go through this alone. So we're all companions, and it's usually the kids that are in the rooms they're the ones that have the courage, and they're the ones that are inspiring their family members and their siblings and the nurses and the doctors, and yet they're the ones going through it. And so, but deep down, it's the companions and the courage and everybody working together to kind of give that support system so that they're not alone, and they can feel and really hope to have those experiences, joyful experiences going through a tough time.
And one of the ways you give back, and one of the ways that you bring that joy is through the Santa Connection.
Yeah.
Which I personally have been part of. I've been the elf. I've been the elf on the Santa Connection, and you won't be able to get rid of me. I have to tell you, I am hooked on.
Well,
I
thank
changed my
you.
whole schedule.
We're
'cause
not
I
getting
had
rid
to-
of you.
I had to be an elf this year. In which you bring Santa into the lives of these kids that can't leave and go visit Santa. You bring Santa to them. Talk to me a little bit about that experience and what that feeling is.
Well, it's two of my favorite days of the year, and thank you for doing that, Amber.
So wonderful.
My wife and I would sneak on privately, and to see the joy of the young boys and girls, and not all of them are younger, some of them are teenagers, but they come in and Santa knows their name, he knows what they're doing, he knows how they're, what's going on. They have a conversation, and of course there's a present there too. And so during a very difficult time of the season, and to bring some joy, as you know, and just see the kids' faces, you cannot help but get excited. I think my favorite story was a young girl, I believe it was Jessica in Jacksonville, that and Mark Leff, who's here, was down there, and at the time, after they had an experience Jessica talking to the Santa, and all excited, she ran out of the room, and she was in oncology going through some chemotherapy, and the parents ran in, and then the mother came out and ran out and hugged the child life and the representative from Cisco who was helping us at the time, and she said, "Was everything okay with Jessica?" And she said she cannot believe that Santa knew her name, and that was like pure joy, and she was crying because she was so excited. And so we're very blessed for the support of people like yourself and Google and Microsoft and Cisco and the National Hockey League and DuPont. And I have an amazing board and a real team. We have a Companions in Courage team of courage, who really helps support this mission to help kids when they're going through tough times in children's hospitals.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful visitation. All of the visits are great, but that one is just to bring the kids that Christmas spirit, it's just really wonderful. You're in the Hockey Hall of Fame. You're a 5-time All-Star. What have you learned about your experience in hockey that relates to Companions in Courage? And how do you continue to grow the organization?
Well, it's a good question. I talked earlier about teamwork. I mean, we have two of our board members here, and George Rosh, you got to talk to. He's been phenomenal leader in getting us started, especially the first one, and then he's been advising us throughout this whole process. So to have great leaders on our board, Jim Johnson, who's the heart and soul of our executive director, Mark Left, who's here, who helps run a lot of our programs. We have a team, so team first. It's a group that's selfless and is there to help the kids. Hockey was really the stepping stone for me to do this. Hockey led me to meet some special kids. I really believe this is what life is about. It's about purpose. I believe we all go through experiences in our lives to teach us and prepare us for what we're supposed to do next in our life. And I'm grateful for the game. I'm grateful for those experiences, and truly grateful for those inspirational, courageous young kids who really inspired all of us who are with Companions in Courage, that we're just kind of conduits, making sure we continue to use that inspiration and use it in a productive way to help them during some difficult times in children's hospitals.
Yeah, and you're using your spotlight. You used your spotlight to start Companions in Courage, and now you're encouraging others to come in and shine their spotlight on helping these kids and talking to them and visiting with them. Why do you think it's important for those in the spotlight to use it for good and shine it on causes that they really care about?
I think it's everything. I think my greatest regret in sports would have been if I didn't use the platform or the position I was in. And I didn't always get it. And I said that earlier, and the nurse told me that too. But Donnie Meehan was my agent. And my wife, early on, we bought a suite in Buffalo, and we tore it down, and we put two together. There was 2 suites, and we called it Suite 16 with my number. And Donnie, after 2 or 3 years, every night there would be a family and kids, and I'd take a face off with a big smile, knowing that there were kids and families escaping and enjoying an event. And about 3 years in, he said, "I'm going to say something." I said, "No, you're not." And I was pretty adamant with him. And Donnie's a very successful agent. He has about 135 NHL guys in the league now today. And he did. He went and spoke to the Globe and Mail. And I told him, what did you do that for? And he says, well, just so you know, Curtis Joseph, Trevor Linden, and Wade Redding are doing the same thing in their local hockey teams with the local children's hospitals. They're buying boxes, and so families can go. And I said, you know what? It's truly about awareness. But hockey players are extremely humble. They're very quiet. We're really low-key people, and I guess sometimes it's important to get that awareness out. But I think this is a generation who really does want to give back, who really does want to be in a position to make a difference. And so I think anybody, I love what Lamar did today. I don't, whether you're a lawyer, you're a teacher, you're a football star, you're an actor, if you're in a position to give back and inspire, and I think that's what it's all about, making a difference for the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're using technology. So it's just going to get better and bigger and more kids you can reach, correct?
Well, that's a great point. I've said to Jim Johnson for many years, I said, you know, what better way to use technology than to inspire and help kids in children's hospitals? Isn't that one of the reasons why we create, evolve, do things like this? What better place than to use this to create little healing centers? I never knew this until they did a report on burn victims, and an anthropologist did a study, and they hooked them up to electrodes, and they started playing video games, and the color was red, meaning they were in pain. And then all of a sudden they were playing games, and the color went to blue, which means they weren't in pain, and the doctors couldn't believe it. And the anthropologists were telling the doctors at that moment, that child is not feeling pain, and the doctors they have to be feeling pain. They're burn victims. And the anthropologist says, at this moment right now, their pain centers are numbed and they're healing. And we didn't find that out till about 4 years ago. And I never thought, we thought these could be joy, bring excitement, bring fun, have a kid escape and feel like he has a special safe haven to go to. We never knew through the distractions and the experience that it could actually maybe help them heal. And so we look at this as another tool and unit and space that can actually help the doctors and the nurses.
And those patients were playing the video games at that point?
They were playing video games, and the red went to blue. And we've sat in on openings, and I'll share one story. Connor, who was hooked up to a machine, and he was going through cystic fibrosis, and his mother Karen came over to us, and he was there 2 years earlier, and he came back at 16, and he was astounded the room because he loved video games, and he started playing. And she come over and tapped Jim Johnson on the shoulder and just said, listen, she's crying. She says, my son presses his morphine button every 8 minutes, and you know how I know? Because I watch him all the time. And she's crying. She says, he's been in this room for over 15 minutes, and he hasn't touched it once.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, that's the best hour of my day. And so when we put these rooms in, we didn't know that they've taken a life of their own, and they truly are special, safe haven, oasis for children who are going through a tough time. And you forget sometimes we're taller, so you have to almost sit down and see the lights going on, and it's got a futuristic feel. And Edwin Schlossberg back in 2001 helped us to design these, so they weren't just a look, they were environmental feel. And we always hoped that kids would feel comfortable and feel special. A lot of the PTs also and the PAs use it. Child Life uses it as a motivator. You know, listen, do your exercises, do this, and you can go into the Lion's Den room. And so I think
that's amazing. That must make you feel incredible. I mean, take a moment to reflect on what you're doing and what you're giving these kids. That's just amazing.
Well, you know what? It's the kids actually take the rooms and make them their own. And we have a team that we just want to keep building these rooms.
I ask all of my guests this. What is your earliest memory of empathy?
Well, I knew this was coming. There was a young man by the name of John Brown. He was probably one of my closest friends in 7th grade. And one day we were shop class buddies. He sat next to me, and he was a great football player. He and Joe Cook were the running back and fullback. And I heard he broke his tailbone, so he didn't come to class. And then all of a sudden a week went by, in 2 weeks, and I didn't hear. We found out that he had bone marrow cancer. And back then, you're talking a long time ago. I mean, we sent letters. We couldn't visit somebody. We couldn't visit John, so we sent him letters and care packages. And it was about 2 months later he passed away. And the thing that touched me the most was that we tried our best, but they were isolated. They isolated kids back then, and I always never got to say goodbye. We never got to talk to him, and so I often think about him and think about how, must have been so hard that, kids, his friends couldn't see him or visit him or go on a, there weren't computers back then, but so it does excite me and make me feel good to know that when these kids are going through this, they can communicate with their classmates, their parents, their uncles and nieces and nephews, and everybody can let them know what they're going through. And we did our best to let John know, and I know he got all our messages, but it was one of those things that really hit me. You never forget that first time, and so we honor John when I think of what these kids are going through, and I'm sure he's a part of the inspiration of the Lions Den rooms.
He definitely is. He absolutely is. He helped touch you at a young age, and now you
Still.
look what you're doing for other kids.
And that's what I said earlier. I think it's about purpose in life and service in life, and everybody that's a part of Companions in Courage knows there's a bigger mission and there's a higher calling, and you just try to make it easier and better. And then you put yourself in someone's shoes like that, and what it must be like for families and parents. It's not just the child; they're the ones that are the courageous ones, but the siblings and they all. So to see their child having a special moment, I still speak to Robert's parents years later and his brothers, and it meant so much to them that during some tough times that he had these experiences. No kid should have to go through that, but if they do and somehow it happens, we hope that there's a Lions Den. If not, we're going to try to build more and build one there and connect them all, so they don't have to go through it alone.
Yeah, well, I'm on board. How do we put a Lions Den in every single hospital? Let's do it. What do we do?
We're trying. I'm actually cutting a ribbon on Wednesday in St. Louis. The St. Louis Blues and the National Hockey League, we're having a big winter classic game there on January 2nd. And as a legacy project, we're leaving a Lions Den room at the St. Louis Children's Hospitals for many years to come. I think the other thing that's really exciting is the walls. They're made of Corian, and so the nurses and child life and doctors love us because they're non-porous. They don't break. They won't scratch. We can update the technology behind the walls, and you feel like you're in this very special, safe haven of a room. And we just want to continue building them and connecting them and giving kids special experienest.
And the one in January, what number is that?
I think we're at 20.
20.
19 or 20. And then we have another one coming up at Connecticut Children's Hospital in West Hartford. And we're going to continue to build a lot more.
Absolutely. Well, let's tell everyone how they can help. If you want to help Companions in Courage Foundation, this is how you do it.
You can go on our website at cic16.org. There's plenty. You could surf around, and there's a lot of areas where you can learn more about us and contact us and donate and support us. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for
Thanks,
the time,
Amber.
Pat. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Spotlight on Giving is all about finding a cause that you care about, getting involved, giving back, and Pat is such an amazing role model and incredible example of that. So make sure that you look into these causes and look into the Companions in Courage Foundation, because we got to put one in every hospital. Let's do it. I'm going to do it. Let's do it. We're on the same team. So thank you so much for watching. And as always, we leave you with the question, what cause do you shine your spotlight on? See you next time. Bye-bye.